Welcome to Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation, the show where we delve into the profound impact of religion, spark provoking conversation, explore the world through an open-minded perspective. I'm your host, Tafari, here to bring you engaging discussions, eye-opening stories, and conversation that pulls no punches. Whether it's faith, culture, creativity, or real-life experience, we keep it raw, honest, and unfiltered. Peace and power, family. Before we get started, please take a moment to do something important. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode of Movement, Rhythm, and Conversations with Tafari. Every click, share, and subscriptions help push this movement forward, spreading knowledge, rhythm, and power into our community. Let's rise together. Now, let's get into today's conversation.
You know, we a lot of times we'll think about depression and other mental health issues as some other community's problem, some community that's less strong. But, you know, this is where the strong Black woman motif falls apart. If the strong Black woman doesn't feel that she can reach out and get help, then she suffers in silence and we end up with tragedies. Black women do commit suicide. Black women do suffer ill long-term health effects due to neglect, making bad choices, perhaps because we don't feel that we deserve better. All of these issues need to be addressed. We deserve the same as any other community. Certainly, there are barriers that we are facing that perhaps some other communities aren't. But, you know, really, until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes, you know, you have to be aware that everybody faces these challenges, including us. And so I think it's really important that we reclaim that and get back to our own mental health so that we can protect our physical health and support our friends and family.
Welcome to Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation. I'm your host, Tafari, where we unchain the mind and reclaim the soul. Today's episode is a wake-up call. Too many of the Christian folks have been told to pray it away, when what they really need is permission to pause, breathe, heal. The church has made exhaustion seem like weakness. But the truth is, it's not a sin to be tired. It's human. And being human doesn't mean you're faithless. It means you're real. You've been conditioned to recite scriptures instead of seeking support, to quote verses instead of setting boundaries. But your mind deserves the same care your spirit gets on Sunday morning. So today, we'll talk about what happens when religion replaces reflection and how we can reclaim our mental health without feeling guilty about it. Because you can love the God you believe in, if that's your thing, and still need a therapist. You can believe and still be broken. You can have faith and still need rest. So let's talk about it. This is Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation. I'm your host, Tafari. Let's start your mental health check. Let's get into it. When faith becomes a mask, too many people in our community have been conditioned to perform strength. We call it walking by faith, but often it's just walking in denial. How many sermons have we heard telling people to pray it away instead of talk it through? We've turned the sanctuary into a stage where everyone's smiling through silence, suffering. That's not faith, that's suppression. When the church tells someone with anxiety to just read the word, it's confused coping with caring. And when preachers preach about peace while ignoring panic attacks, we turn God into a quick fix rather than a relationship. The lack of critical thinking inside the Christian space keeps people trapped in cycles of guilt and shame for simply needing therapy. Scriptures as literature, not prescriptions. Here's the thing. The Bible isn't a medical journal. It's a collection of literature, ancient stories, metaphors, poetry, and political propaganda spanning centuries. The danger arises when people interpret a metaphor literally. When the book of Job says, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. That's not a command, it's a cry. Job is a man breaking down, expressing despair and defiance all at once. It's art, not instructions. But most Christians aren't taught to analyze text. They're trained to obey it. Critical thinking or to question context, translation, and motive is treated like rebellion. Yet reading the Bible as literature opens doors to emotional truth. You can grieve, rage, doubt, and still be a spiritual person. You can honor the humanity inside those stories rather than worship them as rule books.
Oftentimes, Black and brown communities don't have the same access to care. And some of that is because programs are underfunded. Wait lists are long. Treatment options are null for Black and brown patients. So they look very different. And so often Black community does not have access like other communities, like their white counterparts. For a long time in the Black community, and it still exists today, there has been a reluctance to talk about mental health and wellness, especially in outside of the house. It has been a taboo for many years, and we are just now having the conversation about mental health and schizophrenia and what ails us and wellness. And I think lastly, I'll say is the distrust for doctors and professionals in the field.
The culture of burnout in the Black church. In the Black community, exhaustion has become a badge of honor. We say things like, I'm blessed and highly favored, even when we're breaking down inside. Our ancestors survived unimaginable trauma, but survive mode isn't a permanent lifestyle. When the pulpit tells people that rest is laziness or self-care is selfishness, we reinforce slavery, psychological residue, the idea that your worth is tied to your labor and loyalty. And what's worse, we spiritualize exhaustion. We fast instead of eating, pray instead of planning, and give instead of healing. We call it sacrifice, but often it's self-neglect dressed in church clothes.
Depression can paint a bleak picture of the future. It whispers that nothing matters and that you'll never get better. But these are lies. Depression is treatable and recovery is possible. So don't give up hope. Hold on, reach out, and keep fighting.
Faith and therapy can coexist. Here's the new gospel. You can believe in your God and still see a therapist. You can meditate without feeling guilty. You can rest without repenting. If your pastor can afford an accountant for their finances, you can afford a therapist for your mind. God is not offended by your humanity. He gave it to you. The problem is that religion has replaced resources with rhetoric. We've built a spiritual economic where pastors quote verses instead of funding mental health programs. But it's not faith to ignore science. It's arrogant. A licensed therapist is not your enemy. A closed Bible isn't a crisis. Healing takes both conversation and contemplation. Reclaiming sanity and self. So this is your mental health check. If you're tired, say it. If you're sad, name it. If you need help, don't hesitate to ask for it. You are not failing spiritually. You're responding humanly. The Bible says, be still and know. Sometimes be still means stop performing, stop pretending. Sit in your truth long enough to understand what peace really feels like. That's not sin, that's sanity. Let's make something clear. Being tired doesn't mean you've lost faith. It means you've given your all and your spirit is asking for balance. Rest is not rebellion. Silence is not weakness. Therapy is not betrayal. The real sin is pretending you're fine when your soul is begging for relief. So take that break. Call that therapist. Disconnect for a while. The Bible says, be still and know. Sometimes that stillness is where your healing begins. Remember, you're not broken because you need help. You are brave because you admit it. This has been Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation. I'm your host, Tafari. Until next time, unchain your mind, reclaim your soul. Now, let's reclaim our economic power and permit ourselves to rest. If today's conversation spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share with the family. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notification so you never miss an episode of Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation with Tafari. Together we rise. Unchain your mind, reclaim your soul.